Today, guys, I'm going to be doing a completely different challenge. Today, I'm going to be reading this Bible for 1 hour. Hopefully, in the future, I'll be reading more and more, maybe even a couple times a week. I'll be posting these videos. Maybe we'll do them for a longer amount of time, maybe like 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't know. Well, I just want to finish the Bible, see what's about, and hopefully we get this done in about a year or maybe less, hopefully. But even though this Bible does have a rainbow on it, it's nothing to do with a gay. It's just meant for kids, meant to advertise for kids. So there's nothing wrong with this Bible. It's just simplified and shortened down for kids to understand easily. So there's no complicated words. It's all nice English, nice and easy to read. And it basically has all you need to know about the Bible, most of it. But it doesn't have 100% accuracy and detail, but about 95% I'd say. It's quite a good Bible, quite a good book. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I'll keep you guys informed about, I don't know, maybe we'll see, maybe 30 seconds or something. I'll tell you interesting things that I've learned throughout this journey. But before this, I've actually read this Bible maybe for like a month or something, but it's been like on and off, so I haven't really been doing this regular. But I've read up to, I've read up to Exodus 39, so I haven't done too badly. That's maybe I'd say about 1/20th of the Bible or something, I'd say. So I've did a bit of reading, but not too much. So hopefully, if I continue this series, I'll be able to finish the Bible in a year or something like that, and hopefully enjoy all the exciting stories. So keep on watching, guys. I'll keep you informed of new things I hear and see. I'll just give like a recap of every like chapter or like story or whatever, and keep on watching, guys. Thank you. So the time right now is 6 p.m, Sunday 9th of June. I'll be posting this probably on Monday, 10th of June. And it'll last an hour, so finishing about 7, like I said. And let's get started with the Old Testament, which is the beginning of the Bible. So I'll read a bit and then tell you guys what I found out. So this part of the Bible is about the creation of the world, how God created humans and the animals and the worlds and the sky and the stars and everything. So it's basically the beginning of everything. So let me read this and I'll tell you all about it in a second. So I read until chapter 1 of Genesis, and if you didn't know, Genesis is the first book of many books in the Bible, basically the beginning, just if you didn't know. So chapter 1 included all the 6 days of what God created, everything, birds, the sea, the sky, the stars, humans, everything you can think of in the world and universe. That's what he created. He also gave humans all control and rule over the world and the plants and the birds. He gave them everything. He told them to keep care of it and be in control, which I didn't really know until now I reread it. So that was basically chapter 1. Now chapter 2 is going into a bit more detail of how humans were created and all that type of stuff. So let me read and I'll tell you guys. So in chapter 2, God creates the famous and well-known Garden of Eden, where he has Adam to keep care of the garden, and he tells him to eat from anywhere he wants, all the trees, apart from the tree of knowledge, which decides what's good and bad. But if he eats from that tree, then he dies. Which, spoiler, that's what he does and he dies. So when God sees Adam doesn't have a partner, he realises that Adam is quite lonely and he needs a partner. So he puts Adam into a great slumber, making him fall asleep. And while he's asleep, God takes one of his ribs out from him and creates Eve, a woman that's finally a good partner for Adam. And Together they see each other and are embraced and happy together, both naked, but they are not embarrassed, as sin is not created yet. In chapter 3, humans finally disobey God. As the snake is finally entered into the story, the snake, which we don't know is the devil, but as he did what he did, is the devil. As if you didn't know, he is the devil, the snake is the devil, which the snake is the worst and most heinous creature God had created on the world by then. The snake convinced Eve, the woman, to eat a fruit from the tree of knowledge, which God told them not to do. So Eve decided to listen to the snake and she ate the fruit, then gave the fruit to Adam, which he ate as well. Then, when God entered into the garden, they both hid from him, but God knew they were somewhere in the garden and called for them. Adam admitted that he ate the fruit, but that the woman gave it to him, and they were both punished for this by God, which God made their lives very bad and even harder, but not too bad because he still let them have children, but made the punishment for Eve to have a harder and worse pregnancy, so she suffers. And we don't know yet what happened to the snake, but he is probably punished as well, which probably forms hell, where Satan just is. That's chapter 3. In chapter 4, Adam and his wife have 2 sons. One called Abel and the other one called Cain. Cain, he was a farmer, and Abel was a shepherd. Cain made an offering to God from his best harvests, his best crops, and Abel gave offerings of his best lamb and gave the best parts of it to the Lord. However, God denied Cain's offerings but accepted Abel's offerings. This made Cain very angry, but God knew that Cain was evil. This is why he didn't accept his offering. So, when Cain forced Abel to go into a field with him, he secretly killed Abel and Abel died. God was quite angry with Cain and punished him and gave him consequence. That's what happened chapter 4. In chapter 5, it's quite a short chapter, but it's about the whole ancestry and family of Adam, and just quite a big family tree, just listing everyone who he gave birth to. But back then, apparently people lived up to 900 years old. That's what it says in this Bible, 900 years old, which is quite a big difference compared to now. So I wonder why that is, but if you know, tell me. Well, it's something I don't know, but that's basically all that is this chapter. In chapter 6, I finally find out why people now don't live as long. This is because God says that from now on, people will only live up to 120 years old. So that's why they don't live as long. And now God finds out how evil and how bad the people's thoughts are now, and decides to destroy everyone and all the birds and every living thing because he feels sorry for creating them and making them exist. So he decides to flood them, but there was one person who was good and that God liked, and he didn't think that he was evil. And that person was Noah. So God told him to take his family and make a boat to prepare for the flood, and to take a male and female of every animal and species there is on the world, and to be ready. And this is when God first made a covenant with people. So in chapter 7, Noah and his family go on the ark, which, if you didn't know, the ark is basically the big boat which Noah made. So God told Noah that it will rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, which killed all breathing things and living things on the earth, which God wanted to do. So all the animals and Noah and his family got on the boat, and it rained 40 days and 40 nights. And only after 150 days did the rain and the flood finally start going down. And it covered all the highest mountains in the world up to 7 meters above the highest point in the world, which is quite a lot. And this basically destroyed all of humanity and all the living things on earth. So in chapter 8, finally the flood disappears, and Noah and all the animals on the boat finally reach solid ground and are no longer waiting. So when Noah finally gets on the ground, he sacrifices the holy animals which God told him to bring, and burns them to the altar as a sacrifice to the Lord. The Lord likes this smell and is very pleased with Noah and what happened. So God tells himself that he will no longer do anything like this and destroy humans in this way anymore. For while humans are young, they have evil thoughts. In chapter 9, God officially makes a covenant with all living beings, saying that they will never be flooded and the world will never be destroyed like this. By this, God made a rainbow in the sky, saying that when this appears, he will remember this covenant and keep it as a promise, and he will never break it. In chapter 9, God officially makes his covenant with all living beings and humans on the earth, saying that he will never flood and destroy the earth like he did back then. After this, he makes a rainbow in the sky, saying that this will be him remembering this promise, saying that he will never break it ever again, officially making this a covenant, which is an agreement between God and humans. Chapter 10 explains to us all of Noah's descendants and how their tribes basically will live, and who will be whose slaves and who will be in control. There's not much to chapter 10, but just a short, brief explain to us what happens to Noah's descendants and who they are. In chapter 11, all the humans and people in the earth are in this one area called Babylonia, where they decide to bake some bricks and start to make a city. And they want to make a tower all the way up to the sky to make a name for themselves. God comes down and sees this, realising they only speak one language and say the same words. He, for some reason, which I don't know, scatters them all around the world and the earth, separating them from each other, and he makes different languages for them so they don't understand each other anymore. This is why we have different languages and we live in different parts of the world. So, in chapter 12, God tells Abraham to leave his relatives and everyone he knows and to go and find this place that God tells him where all his new ancestors and descendants will live. God goes to this place called Canaan and realises there is quite a big drought, and so he goes south to Egypt, where with his wife he realises that his wife is really beautiful and the Egyptians will realise this and want to take her and kill him. But he tells his wife to say that he is his brother, and he will say that she is her sister, so that the king of Egypt treats him well and gives him many riches. And this happens, but as God sees this, he sends a curse to the Egyptian king, and the Pharaoh, which is the Egyptian king, realizes that this is actually Abraham's wife, and he tells Abraham to get out of Egypt as the bodyguards get him out and leave all his possessions in Egypt. So the time right now is 7 p.m, about an hour later from when I started this. I'll definitely be posting more of this Bible reading in the future. Probably I'll be doing it twice a week because I really enjoyed it, and so we'll be finishing the Bible eventually, maybe in a year or something like that. So this will definitely be a new series. I'll be posting new parts and episodes, like I said, about probably twice a week. I really did enjoy it. If you guys learned something new about the Bible or anything new, please tell me down below in the comments. Leave a like and subscribe if you really enjoyed it and want me to carry this on. Thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget, suffer now or suffer later.